In many companies, the higher-level executive and management positions are typically held by men, with very few women in these positions. Although the number of women in executive jobs has slowly been rising, it is still not on par with the amount of men in these positions. Furthermore, many executive positions are filled by older generations such as baby boomers. These older generations are more set in their old beliefs about women not being as smart or capable as men, which they were taught by their parents and grandparents. Since these people with old beliefs are in executive positions or on boards, they have power over who is hired for other management and executive positions, which results in more men than women being hired for these higher-level jobs. It was found that in 2016 that in the United States, in S&P 500 companies, only 5.2% of CEOs were women, 21.2% of board seats belonged to women, and 26.5% of executive or senior level officials and managers were women. S&P 500 companies are defined as 500 companies in the United States with market capitalizations of at least $5.3 billion from stocks. These are large companies that make large profits, yet for these high-level positions, the ratio of men to women filling them are highly unbalanced, with more than double the amount of men to women. Part of the reason women cannot obtain these high-level executive positions is because they cannot commit so much time to staying late at work and traveling. Instead, they take care of their children and do housework due to the gender roles thrust upon them. CBC reported that men in Canada are doing more household work than they did in the past, but in 2015, women were doing an average of 3.6 hours of chores, while men were doing an average of 2.4 hours of chores per day. The women did 50% more housework than the men. This idea that women should be doing all or most of household chores is outdated and is one of the old beliefs about women that some people still believe. By devoting so much time to household chores and taking care of children, many women do not have the time to do extra work at home, stay late at work every night, or travel for work. This makes it much harder for them to get promoted to an executive level position. By women having to do household chores and men in executive positions believing old beliefs, there is still gender inequality in the workplace. In addition to most management and executive positions being filled by mainly men, women are paid less than their male co-workers despite having the same skills and qualifications. In a 2015 study done by Statistics Canada, it was reported that women with all education levels working full-time were paid an average hourly wage of $26.11, whereas men with the same education were paid an average hourly wage of $29.86. The women were paid 87% of the amount that the men were paid. These wages may seem close with only a difference of $3.75, but if a woman works 40 hours a week for the whole year for 52 weeks, that is a difference of $7,800. So this pay gap adds up over a lifetime because if the average hourly wage were to remain the same, after 30 years, this would be a difference of $234,000. That would mean that a man could possibly retire sooner than a woman due to having more retirement money saved. This pay gap has been evident for years and has improved slightly, as in 2000 it was reported that the average hourly wage for full-time working women in 2010 dollars was $19.16, whereas for men it was $23.27. This means that the women were paid 82% of what the men were paid. Over 15 years, women were paid closer to what men were paid, but the fact that this has only increased by 5% shows that there is still not gender equality in the workplace. This is due to people still maintaining old beliefs such as that women are not as smart or as capable as men, but this is just a stigma, as many women are as capable and smart as men, if not more, so these old beliefs are not true. However, many older generations have these beliefs so ingrained in their minds that they cannot forget them and move on to newer beliefs. In an article by New York Magazine, it was reported that in June 2016, 17-year-old Jensen Walcott in Kansas City, Kansas, was fired from her job at a pizza store after asking to have the same pay as her male friend with the same credentials and experience. Her friend Jake was offered $8.25 per hour, while she was only offered $8 per hour. This is a large difference of 25 cents when the pay is small to begin with. After Walcott asked to be paid the same as her friend, she was fired. However, this is a reasonable thing to have asked for, especially due to the fact that they had the same credentials level. However, the manager probably believes some old-fashioned beliefs about how men and women are not equal. Due to old-fashioned beliefs such as these, many women are not paid as high a salary as men because some may not consider them worthy of the same pay. This is a very old and outdated thought, however, many still believe it, typically people in older generations, because these beliefs were held by everybody when they were young. Everyone was taught to think that men were better, smarter, and more capable than women, which is not true. This unequal pay and old beliefs contribute to gender inequality in the workplace. In addition to the pay gap between women and men, the ratio of women to men in the workforce is unbalanced with more men than women working. This is caused by old beliefs that continue to circulate in society, such as that women cannot work and that they should instead stay home to take care of their children and family. Many people from older generations still believe this, preventing women from going to work or being hired. According to Statistics Canada, the employment rate of women with children aged 6 to 15 was 47.1% in 1976 and 79.5% in 2007. This is a large increase of women in the workforce. However, there were still 20.5% of women with children who were unemployed in 2007. This is still a somewhat large amount of women who are not in the workforce. The idea that women should not work and instead stay home to take care of their children and family is still alive, although there have been many women's rights activists trying to gain gender equality for women. In addition, in 2017, according to Statistics Canada, in the workforce, the amount of women was 90% of the amount of men. This is very close in number, however, there were still less employed women than men. As I mentioned earlier, women still do most of household chores and take care of their family, preventing some of them from working. There are also still many stay-at-home mothers, however, there are significantly less than there were 100 years ago when most women were stay-at-home mothers. There is a significant change, however, the fact that the ratio of women to men in the workplace is not equal shows that gender equality still has not been reached in the workplace.